Right, audio check. So, first of all, good morning to everyone who's watching my videos. Um, yes, my T-shirt is inverted. But I do not care if I'm wearing it inverted. Can you hear that? There's a fire truck outside. Um, yeah. So, anyway, um, my T-shirt is inverted, and I just got out of the shower, and I have a few dandruffs here and there, but I don't mind that. Um, so today is May 19, 26, and it's Tuesday, and tomorrow is the start of my internship. Hopefully, um, I just woke up, tend to my garden. Some of the plants weren't growing, and probably because I planted them wrong. But I did replant the seeds and watered them before covering them up. Um, I don't really know the procedure. I should research it, but my mung beans, they are growing quite fine. I mean, because they're really easy to plant. It's difficult to fuck them up. You just put them in the soil, plant them, give them water, and they're basically ready to be propagated. It's really hard to fuck up mung beans. What else? I just did my morning workout. It's not a lot. It's just one set of both pull-ups and dips. Yeah, like I said, it's not a lot, but it's to keep my body looking somehow fine. But see that, see the biceps. I still have this. I still have the guns, but not as good as it used to be. Let me just get my coffee right real quick. So I've got coffee here. Um, this is very good. So that's my agenda for today. And today my friend and I, we are going to be dealing with some tasks like going to our internship work for finishing up some papers and going to our university to finish some documents um, as well. And so there's a mosquito right in front of me. We're just gonna do some polishing, finishing up some tests, and hopefully by tomorrow we get to start because I'm really excited and really nervous about it. But it's part of life. So originally I was thinking about talking about random things, but while I was tending to my garden earlier, I realized that sometimes a much more simpler life is what makes life great. And what do I mean by that? You see, yesterday I woke up early. Did I wake up? I didn't even sleep. I made a video, right? And so after that, I did call my dad, and you know, we had some talk. Not a serious one. So it was mostly about me asking for extra finances to fix my motorcycle. Long story short, I felt unpleasant of what he said. I mean, of course, he rejected my plea to have my motorcycle fixed. But initially, I was a little bit frustrated, disappointed, because he told me that it's okay. We'll get your motorcycle fixed as soon as possible. But of course, the moment I asked yesterday, there were some minor, or no, no, there was some problems about his finances, so that he couldn't handle my issue. So I was a little bit frustrated, mad, no, not mad, frustrated, disappointed, because he told me there's always money available for it. Um, and so I talked with my girlfriend about it. I talked with my girlfriend about my frustrations that I've been dealing with for a long, long time, not just that specific moment in my life. We talked about it. I ranted so much about her, and yeah, my morning wasn't exactly very good yesterday. But somewhere along that day, yesterday, I realized that maybe I am not thankful enough, grateful enough even, for what I've been receiving. Because my dad already gave me something, and I just have to make do, live a little differently this time. I used to fear a life that's simple. I used to fear this life of not being able to eat proteins like meat, you know, or a life that I don't get to eat out every once um, a week. But I've kind of gotten used to that life, not because I can't, but because I should. It's not that I cannot live without fast food once in a while. It's that I should be able to live without fast food for a while. And by a simpler life, I mean I fear that there's a much more life that is much more simple than what I currently have. Because right now, I really can't afford to buy fast food. I can only buy whole foods, which are like tofu, eggplant, tomato, eggs. These are the only things that I can afford. Some within the spectrum. I'm not going to list them all, of course. Um, but I used to be able to buy meat, like ground beef, chicken, but right now not so much. And I'm not mad with my dad. No, no, no. I don't have anything personal against him. It's just that at the time there was something that I didn't realize, and there were some situations, and I was too quick to judge. If you're noticing that I am scratching myself a lot, it's because having an inverted t-shirt is really itchy for my body, and so it's not really good. I am a little bit bothered, and so yeah. What as I was saying, there's a much more simpler life, and at the time I wasn't even. Yeah, I was too quick to judge on my dad. Now, I had a small talk with my grandfather earlier, later that day. He told me about my dad having to live a life worse than I currently have right now because I didn't have to walk to school. And that dog is extremely noisy. I didn't have to walk to school. I didn't have to, you know, like walk to work. I have the privilege because I have a motorcycle. I didn't have to do such things because I am privileged and I'm taking things for granted. And compared to the life that he had, my life is already luxurious. And that's when it hit me. Whatever it is that I felt earlier that day, I'm not saying that it's invalid. I am validating my emotions. My emotions at the time were valid because I was ignorant and I didn't know any better. But at the same time, now that I realized it, I realized how wrong I was to judge my dad that quickly. And so I realized when I was watering my plants, the only thing that a plant needs is a good soil, water, and sunlight. That's the only thing they need. Fertilizers are optional. Me talking to them is optional. Those are some things that boost their growth. Is that conversation with them and fertilizers, but it is completely optional. And there are things in life that are optional as well. Like, if I can live a much more simpler life than this, then all the other things that I used to consume is optional. I don't need them to live. In fact, I realize now that the only things that I need is water, food, shelter, and internet, of course. At this time, day and age, internet is a need, I think. Well, to be fair, I don't really need it. In this modern world. I just have to have it because I really can't keep up with the requirements of this world if I don't have internet. That's why it's kind of became a need. If you understand me, if you are going to work or you're going to university, it's basically a number one need. But back then, you know, um, we used to have notebooks, notebooks and books. We didn't need internet for our assignments. Teachers gave out assignments that are really doable without the use of internet. But nowadays they just give out homeworks that you need to really look up the library within the internet so for you to be able to solve it, which is fine, but that made problems a little bit more difficult. But because it is much more accessible today, and so yeah, i I don't really need an extravagant life. Reflecting on this, I realized how wrong I was that I didn't lash out on my dad, and I only vented out my frustrations to my girlfriend, which my girlfriend understands. And I'm not the type to take things personally. I didn't take that personally, but realizing I was in the wrong, now I feel guilty, and I feel the need to take accountability of my words and responsibility of those things that I said. But I know I was in the wrong, and like I said, I'm taking full accountability of that. And I have so much more to learn. I'm only 23 years old, by the way. Um, I'm pretty young, and there's so much more that I don't know out there. And if I'm afraid of a much more simpler life, that's probably why I lashed out yesterday. Is because change is a difficult thing for me. Going lower than what I expected. I thought I was in the lowest, but no, 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 no. I am never in the low. I forgot who did this, which person or philosopher did this, but he's that kind of rich guy. Forgot who he is. If y'all can help me, you probably know this, but this is his story. He's a rich guy, a wealthy man. He has everything, but once in a while, he decides to live the poorest. You know, like eating down the street. Being homeless. And why does he do it? It's because he's preparing himself for the worst. And once you get to live the worst life that you can possibly ever imagine, you're gonna say to yourself, "Is this the life that I have feared? Is this the life that I fear?" And maybe you'll realize that it's not so bad after all. And that's what I am currently at right now. I'm trying to live a much more simpler life without the access of what I used to access, what I used to have access. Um, and I'm trying to enjoy it as much as possible. I'm trying to be grateful about it. And, you know, if my dad ever sees this, then I hope that, well, he probably won't, but yeah, I'm sorry for lashing out. Well, I didn't lash out on him. I'm sorry for lashing out to my girlfriend, and yeah, maybe I should apologize to him. But uh, I didn't really lash out on him. Maybe apologize to him within. Now that I realized that I was in the wrong, it wasn't his fault though. I remember the conversation I had with my grandfather yesterday. He told me that I should be grateful and thankful for the Lord have gave me good and bad times because good for my blessings and bad for my lessons. And those are s- such wonderful words. Those are words that I have to live by. And I realize that God has never left my side. Even even if I'm not really as faithful as I used to be, God never left me, and that's where it all connected. That I am not grateful enough. And there are some people who's in the same situation or maybe worse. um, but this is probably a reminder to be grateful of what we currently have. If you are living right now, then let us be grateful of what we have because not everybody gets to live a normal life. If you're struggling right now, I know um, some things are hard for you right now, and not you would be asking yourself, should I be grateful for the situation that I have? Well, I think yes, and this is too bold for me to speak of, but we should all be grateful for the life that we have. Do you have 5 fingers? 10 fingers? Do you have your set of feet complete? Do you look normal? Do you have clothes on? Do you have a shelter on? Well, if you do, be grateful because not all people have a complete set of fingers or feet. Some people don't look normal. Some people are picked on. Some people don't even have shelter. And some people struggle for food. And again, I'm not really invalidating what your current situation is. I'm just saying, let's be grateful for what we have. Because I know everybody's fighting and they each have their own struggles. But trust God, it will all get there. Thank the Lord and be grateful for all the good and bad ones. For good are the blessings, and bad are the lessons. Slow down, live it low. This is George, and I guess I'll see you again. Bye bye.